his love for this city is so clear. And his devotion, his caring for it being a place that actually works, that works for everyone. And that was the impulse that energized so much of the Lindsay team.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. That was Mayor de Blasio earlier this week at an event celebrating the contributions of Jay Kriegel, who first came on the scene as a top aide to former Mayor John Lindsay and then had a long career in media, politics, and real estate. Among his accomplishments, he helped create the first civilian complaint review board. He also led the city's campaign to host the 2012 Olympics and more recently has been involved in the development of Hudson Yards. Amidst all the breaking news, we wanted to take a few minutes to highlight the celebration from earlier this week. And I am joined now by two people who know Jay from different parts of his career. Sid Davidoff is a longtime friend who was also an aide in the Lindsay administration. And Wendy Hilliard is an Olympic gymnast who worked with Jay on the city's valiant but ultimately unsuccessful efforts to bring the Olympics to New York. Thank you both for being here. So Jay Kriegel is a civic institution. If you are in media, political circles, you know who Jay Kriegel is. He's one of those people who's been around for so long. He knows everybody and knows everything. But Sid, you knew him from the Lindsay administration dating back to, what, the mid-60s?
1965 campaign.
How young were you guys working in the Lindsay administration?
He just came out of, he's younger than me. He just came out of law school. I skipped more years than he did. So I had been out a couple of years, been in the Army and so on. But we met in the campaign, and Jay was special. He was nonstop energy.
He was chief of staff to Mayor Lindsay.
Actually, when we won, it was a tough race in '65. We got into City Hall, the first deputy mayor and Jay didn't get along, and he was in the basement. He was an assistant to the mayor, and he wasn't allowed out of the basement. When that first deputy mayor, after the first year, left, Jay was allowed upstairs and became chief of staff.
And the roster of people from the Lindsay administration who went on to have remarkable careers of their own is like staggering. I mean, I don't even know where to start. In politics, Councilwoman Ronnie Eldridge, Liz Holtzman, the former Congresswoman. In media, Leslie Stahl, who was at 60 Minutes. Jeffrey Katzenberg, the media mogul. I mean, all these people worked under Lindsay, and there was this sort of idealistic group of young people who worked for him, right?
Yeah, in fact, they were named the Kitty Corps, or we were named the Kitty Corps. And it was those under 30 and those over 30 at that time. That was the differentiation. We had, it was an incredible time. And as you say, though, I mean, we can go on a list forever who came out of it, but it was really an incredible time, and Jay was at the center of it.
And Wendy, you worked with Jay on the 2012 Olympic bid for many, many years. What was it like working with Jay?
It was very exciting. I mean, working with Jay is always an adventure. We'll say that way. It's never boring, but it was really wonderful because there's one thing. We had a group. Jay called us his kids. We, up to 50 people to bring this together. The Olympic bid was so diverse, so amazing. But what he did is he galvanized all of us to work. I worked under Jay, let's put it that way. But we did such amazing things to bringing incredible sporting events to New York. The events we held was very much in style of Jay. It was a huge, huge campaign, not just nationally, but on the international level. So working with Jay was always really interesting, and really for all of us that worked for him, it is an experience we'll never have again.
I found an old New York Times story from 1971 where a Lindsay aide said talking to Jay Kriegel is like putting your finger in an electric light socket.
Jay was nonstop, but we had a good relationship. He was the smartest guy. He was on top of everything. His job was inside of City Hall. His job was really the policy part of it. My job, and those who worked with me, was the outside. We dealt with the streets. So we had to come together at times. And I always said, if I can use the word, he was just a pain in the ass. But Jay was special.
And he was part of the Lindsay campaign for president back in 1968, right?
1972. We took a leave of absence. I went down to Florida to run the campaign. He went over to the headquarters, was working out of headquarters. We went to Wisconsin and Massachusetts, and then finally the mayor decided to withdraw. But again, he was in there making the policy papers, doing the white papers, doing the things that Jay does well.
And Wendy, I mentioned some of his accomplishments. He also co-founded the American Lawyer magazine. He was a high-ranking executive at CBS for a long time, and now he's with the related companies which built the Hudson Yards. I mean, really an incredible career.
Well, it was just, he brought it all together, is it what it was, because, when we had to get all the Olympians and Paralympians to be part of the bid, we ended up getting 2012, of course, which is really unmatched. To get everyone, not just to sign on, but to be engaged. Jay was very good at selling New York City, of course, but the things that we did, the events that we did, the people that he brought around, it's really, and we have, after seeing that, we still have great sports going on in the city, great youth sports. So there's still a wonderful legacy that we did between the 2012 Olympic and Paralympic bid.
He was a fast-talking, wisecracking, and hugely likable individual, and his career should certainly be celebrated. We got to leave it there. Thank you both so much for being with us, and that's going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you for watching, and have a great evening. We'll see you next time on Inside City Hall.